2022.
Fucking suck.
2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. We cheered as records were shattered and legacies were cemented. Despite pushback, despite resistance, 2022 was a year in which we persisted.
Fucking suck.
Was a year in which we wrestled with both free speech and hate speech, and were reminded
fucking suck.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 235 of the Triple Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast is coming at you live and direct with the homies, JP, Creepy Carly, and of course, I be your hostess with the mostest, the magic marker, leaving shit stains all over the game, Moodz.
Ooh.
What's going on? What's going on?
You're gross, bro.
I'm the magic marker. All right, man. So yeah, episode 235. Thanks, Carly, for coming back. This is going to be basically just an extension of our top 10 of 2022. So we're going to break down our extended list from 25 to 11. I'm not really too sure why it is 25 because it would make sense to do 22 since we're
it would
22 shots.
Well, Exploding Heads did 22 this year, so fuck
who
it.
cares?
Just didn't want. I mean, it's just by chance that we're on the same year that our movies, but you know, it's coincidental, but it is what it is. I don't really think they would look too much into it that we were ripping them off, given the circumstances.
No, dude, they've ripped us off, and we've ripped them off so many times. Yeah. It's not even funny. That's why everybody always says like that we're just attached at the hip because we're such similar shows,
right?
And we both lost Jews. So I
mean, wow, that is so true. I never even put that together. Yeah, that's very interesting. So I mean, we've said everything that we really need to say about 2022. I think in the previous episode, which y'all at this point have probably listened to. So we just thought, why not? Why not do the extended list? We don't really do this every year, do we? No, we don't. So
no, we don't.
We're just like, fuck it. We're going to do it this year. And then, so we're going to break down 25 to 11, and then we're going to get into like a little bit of 2023 preview of some of the films we're looking forward to, some of the films that are coming out, and some of the films that are potentially coming out. It's so early in the year. I know there's pre-production on films, and then there's things that are always up in the air, and there's most likely going to be films that we talk about that never see the light of day this year, like, because that always happens, right? It's kind of funny, like we've made a point of going back and reading show notes throughout the years, and we're like, oh yeah, we talked about this one, that shit never dropped. You know, like how many times has that happened, man? Like, so but there's definitely one that I didn't realize. Actually, I think it just got announced just the other day that it's actually in pre-production, so I'm super stoked about that because it was probably one of the funniest fake trailers ever made.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
It was so funny because for years and years we brought this up on the show. I'm like, and it's kind of ironic a little bit too because I actually asked the question of where he was last episode.
Right.
Like, what's he been doing, man? And then it gets announced like the day after, I think. So that's very interesting timing. But so we're not going to go round tree.
Yeah, this is going to be a shorter show, like very short. You know, we're just this is sort of a just a show for us to sort of unwind and let the rest of the last year end and start the beginning.
Like this will be quick. We're not going to go round tree with this. We're basically just going to start with one person. They can speak a little bit on each film right down to 11. We'll move on to the next person because let's face it, they make the top 10, so we don't have a whole lot to say about them, but they're just notable. So who wants to start?
Well, I say we just go in the same order that we did on the show. So it would be me since Dave's not here.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that I did a review of, this is my number 25. I'm not going to make this really long-winded, but because it comes so specifically with actually it's my 24, but there's a film that was a prequel this year, and I did a review of it, and Jeremy, our old co-host, left a comment on my review on Letterboxd where I just basically said like, "Oh, pretty cool prequel," and he's like, "It's not a prequel; it's a sequel, you idiot! Like, you're such a dumbass or something." And then I'm like, "What?"
How did
Because the movie's clearly a prequel.
Okay, I'm confused here. How in the hell did he watch the movie thinking it was a sequel?
I literally messaged him. I was like, "Wait," I was like, are you literally stupid?" And he's like, "I guess I am the stupid one now that I'm looking into it." And I'm like, "You mean to tell me you watched the entire movie thinking it was a sequel?"
Right.
It was so stupid.
It's like the origin story. It's
And he's like, "Well, at least I'm not on the show anymore, so I won't embarrass myself."
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, "Nope, I'm gonna still embarrass you."
That's really funny, actually.
Okay, so with that said, let me get into mine. Man, this fucking list is so tiny I can barely see it. Number 25 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Honestly, I think that, like, I listened to Exploding Heads that made their lists, and Watson and everybody, and I think that they think this movie is a lot better than it actually is. Like, I do think that it's kind of a bad movie, but it's fun. It doesn't make much sense. It's really stupid, but it does have a chainsaw massacre, and it's a fun movie. It's just really dumb.
My whole thing with TCM, just the short and long of it was, yeah, the movie is fun. It's gory. It's totally a great popcorn flick. But the problem is with TCM is that it's a sequel to the original film. That's what makes it bad, because the narrative sucks. It's really bad. And like, honestly, man, I'm getting so sick of like shoving down all this, like this social commentary and like just all this like technological bullshit like down people's throats and stuff. But it just, there was parts in the narrative that I just felt like it just ruined it. It just ruined it. It was, honestly, they did some characters poorly, but like, you're going to watch this movie for the blood and gore. Like, it literally has a chainsaw massacre, which is the coolest thing.
The first one.
Right. And it's a nasty one too. Like, there's a lot, the body count in that scene alone is crazy. And it was cool to see practical effects. But honestly, there's so many other things about the movie that's just very off-putting, in my opinion.
Yeah, you should be off-putting. But yeah, the movie itself is, I think it's, I would honestly classify it as like barely good, but mainly stupid and fun. But I really loved it. I had fun with it. It just, I don't think it's a very good movie. Number 24, we have Orphan First Kill. This was a huge surprise to me. This is the film I was referencing. Clearly a fucking prequel. It's called Orphan First Kill. Kill.
It's the origin
way that it's the prequel.
That's so fucked up to me.
It's so stupid. But Isabel Furman, she is like outstanding. Like just in her look, she looks exactly like she did when she was like 11 or however old she was in the first Orphan. Mm-hmm. Did you see this, Moodz?
I did. Yeah. I actually didn't mind it. Like the twist in this one, I actually thought was pretty mean spirited. I was like, oh shit, that's kind of mean spirited. I kind of like that. And I will admit though, because when I was watching the movie, I literally said to myself out loud, I said, man, they better come with a pretty cool twist here, because this movie's so fucking generic. It was so generic until that twist happened, and I was like, okay, all right, I can fuck with that. That made it worthwhile. So
yeah, I just liked it. Oh, by the way, 7 out of 10 for Chainsaw, 7.5 for Orphan First Kill. My number 23 is Resurrection. This movie I just thought was like very creepy. The way that the story unfolds, and you're sort of like, what the hell is going on? There's one specific scene at a park bench or something like that where the movie just takes sort of a left turn, and it's like, oh, what the hell? That's weird. Pretty good movie. I give that one a 7.5 out of 10. Next up is probably what's that, Carly?
I didn't see it.
I think you would like that one, honestly. I
was going to watch it. I just ran out of time.
Yeah. This one is probably the biggest surprise for a lot of people for me, because I don't think a lot of people like this movie, but I liked it more than the last one, and that is VHS 94. Was it 94?
Yeah.
Or 99?
99.
99. Yeah, no, not 94, 99. Yeah, that was the other one.
They're getting out of hand with these random years.
Yeah.
It was very hit and miss for me, man. There was a couple in there I thought were really good, and there was a couple that I thought were like pretty bad, actually.
So the first segment was my least favorite, which was like the band segment. And then we had the Flying Lotus segment, which I thought was fun. And then the Medusa segment, which I actually really enjoyed, even though like the CGI was a little rough. I thought it was like super cool. I like the
I was let down by the Flying Lotus one. I had big hopes for it because I know he's very visual and stuff, and it was kind of a letdown to me.
Yeah, that was my second least favorite. But the Medusa one, I like the build up and the kids, and like it really reminded me of being like a kid where like spying on the neighbor who was really hot and shit like that. I just dug the whole vibe of it. And then what was the next segment?
I thought the worst one. I thought the worst one was the last one, man.
Dude, that's my favorite one. I love.
I know. I seem to be in the minority on that, man.
It's in hell. It's in hell.
There was something about it. The way it was done, it was like.
I mean, it's done.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I just thought it was so cool. I was like, dude, they're fucking in hell, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
no. That idea is cool, but I think it was just more the execution of.
It kind of looked like hell too. Like even when the like lightning would go and you see a giant fucking devil in the sky, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, the segment I'm forgetting is like possibly the best one. It's the buried alive segment.
Yeah, that was my favorite one. That one is like so claustrophobic and just terrifying, man. That one, yeah, that one hits home.
I actually really like VHS 99, and I liked that it's honestly one of the only films set on New Year's. So we get a new New Year's horror film.
I forgot that I watched this.
Yeah, I think I like 94 was the one. Yeah, no, that was the one before this one. They're all out of order for me. What the fuck?
Yeah. And Resurrection 7.5, VHS 7.5 as well, just in case I didn't mention that. And then we have number 21 is Fresh. I know that made a couple of lists. I believe both of your lists did it make?
Yep.
Yeah.
It got under my skin a little bit more than you would expect. Like I right at the beginning when the dude freaking. Well, first of all, I think that I just felt bad that the character was like so dumb and fell for this asshole that it like made me uncomfortable. And then like when he pulls that like leg of flesh out of the thing, it looked so gross to me. I don't know, like Italian cannibal flicks usually don't bother me when it's played for like just like more like less. I don't know. It's less gory, but it's more effective. Like for some reason, I don't know. It just
I don't find the main character to be dumb. I think that she completely got duped. Like she. I think she got caught up in the moment because
she felt dumb.
She did feel stupid because, like, the fact that she wasn't really into the whole dating thing, and then this guy charmed the shit out of her. Like he charmed the shit out of her, right? Like she still wasn't kind of sure, and she's like, oh, okay, I'll kind of do this thing, and then that of course you're gonna feel stupid after because she definitely double guessed the whole thing or questioned the whole thing, and then it didn't really work out.
Right. But I give that one a 7.5 out of 10 as well. And then Halloween Ends is my number 20. In fact, actually, Dave talking about this movie made me like it even more because it totally makes sense. The first one is literally the first film in the trilogy is literally just a movie that was just giving the fanboys what they wanted. The second movie was like, all right, we're going to swerve a little bit, but still keep it relatively what you guys like. But we're just going to change a lot of shit and set up a bunch of, it's all set up for the third film. And then the third film comes in and it's like, haha, fuck you guys. We're doing whatever we want. And it made everybody pissed off. And it actually kind of was cool because that's what Halloween 3 was in the original trilogy of films. And it just, after hearing him talk about it, it made me like respect it a little bit more. But plus I actually just liked the movie. Like I liked this, thought it was cool. It was different. It worked for me. So Halloween Ends 7.5 out of 10. The best of the new trilogy. And then number 19, this is actually Rebecca McKendry's new movie. And I think that this is her best movie that I've seen. I think this is the third one I've seen. And this one is H.P. Lovecraft type thing set in a bathroom stall. I know you weren't the biggest fan of this one, Moodz.
Oh, Glorious?
Glorious, yeah.
No, I wasn't. And it's funny because I generally like movies like this. I'm trying to think of the one that had Jeffrey Combs in it years ago. I know Dave mentioned on the show too, and I love that movie. Where he's in his apartment and he's, it's kind of like the same type of deal, hearing a voice and shit, and it's like, oh, I can see the cover right now, man. That movie was fantastic, man. I really like that shit.
But so this one, I watched this at Fantasia Film Fest, and actually it was like probably the best movie I watched there. And I was like, I thought it was really funny, really creative for having very little characters, and overall just enjoyable little flick. So I give that one a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, number 18, Moodz. Moodz is the only person that had this on his list, and that is The Leech with Jeremy Gardner, of course. That one was really fun, really funny. If I think I probably would have liked it even more if I didn't watch it 480p. 480p, not even 720. 480p's DVD, bro.
I didn't even know you could still watch shit in that fucking that rate.
You can't if
it
you
looked
believe.
like ass too. I was like, man, this looks horrible. So yeah, I gave that one a 7.5 out of 10. Number 17, the return of the G that is Argento. We have Dark Glasses here. This was a huge shock and surprise for me. As you guys, the listeners, know, we've done everything Argento almost.
Almost now.
Yeah. As the years went on, the films dipped in quality for the most part, minus some, random ones here and there. And I think we all thought Argento just was like done, he's past his prime, way past his prime, but he made a solid little giallo film that was a return to form in Dark Glasses. And I think most people who are Argento fans was very relieved to see, like, okay, maybe it wasn't that he just started sucking. Maybe it was outside forces that were making his film suck. Because this one looks more like an old school Argento film, and it's not an old school Argento film. It's not as good as Opera or Suspiria or anything, but it looks more like that than it does The Card Player. You know what I mean? So
in a nutshell, what I said about Dark Glasses, I'm like, man, the production value on Dark Glasses is better than like his last 5 or 6 projects combined. Right. Like even the audio, like the fact that they're speaking in their native language, I was so thankful for it, because it really does help you concentrate it a little bit more, because we've talked about this before. When people are speaking their second language, the acting comes off as being, immensely horrible. Right. And if you're speaking your native language, it comes off a little bit more natural. I think it's a lot easier for them to do and stuff. And one thing I did notice was Argento Argento's voice, and her voice is getting deep, man. She must be smoking a pack and a half a day or some shit, man.
Yeah.
But
she's always had a very smoky sounding voice, but it's even worse now.
It's getting really deep. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. 7.5 out of 10 for Dark Glasses. Number 16, we have The Cursed, which is a film that I really don't remember, but I gave it an 8 out of 10 when I watched it. So that's why it's at an 8 out of 10 now. And we watched it in like January of the year, and it's probably the movie I remember least about, but I liked it at the time, and it didn't make Dave's top 10. Breaking into the final 5 here, we have The Menu. Next up, I know that was very high on Carly's list. Moodz didn't get a chance to see it. Good move. Got my girl Anya Taylor-Joy in it. It got John Leguizamo, who I'm a fan of. The cast is great throughout, and there's the one thing I constantly think about in this film is just the boyfriend character and how like lame this motherfucker is. But yeah, so The Menu, 8 out of 10. And then number 14 is a film I swear I've not heard anybody really talk about. It is basically an extended Twilight Zone episode, and that is Dole. Pretty cool movie about you basically having to duel your body double, and the
I wanted to see this. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it pissed me off, because I remember we talked about this before. You mentioned it months ago or whatever, and I was like, oh, that does sound actually really cool. I could never find it. There was a few movies this year that I was really shocked, because there's a lot of different streaming platforms. There's a lot of ways to rent stuff, but there's just like, even to rent stuff legally, like in Canada, it's getting a lot harder. They're just not carrying a lot of things, right? And that was one I couldn't find fucking anywhere. Crazy.
Yeah,
2022. I'm still having problems seeing films.
I know,
Like,
man. I
it's
know.
crazy. Like,
This was actually one of the first films that me and Carly watched this year, but I remember it a little bit better than The Cursed. It was maybe like a February release or something like that. Carly, do you remember?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
February-ish.
It came out and had a very, very, very quiet release in the theaters, and a lot of people didn't even know about it. In fact, I don't even think Jeremy knew about it, which is weird because he tells me about everything. But we went and seen it, and we were like, wow, that was actually a really solid movie. And I gave that one an 8 out of 10 as well. It was in my top 10 for a very long time. Number 13, speaking of extended Twilight episodes, that's exactly what this is. And this is Don't Worry, Darling, starring Florence Pugh, who's really good in the movie. This is basically this character lives in almost like a Pleasantville setting, that sort of like almost like 50s vibe, where everything's like white picket fences and amazing, but they're like kind of out in the desert a little bit, and all their husbands work and they just like are stay-at-home wives. But there's some weird shit going on, and you sort of find out more as the film progresses. And I actually thought that the reveal was like super cool in this movie. I gave that an 8 out of 10. It's my number 13. My number 12 is Jordan Peele's Nope. Everybody thought this was going to make my list. It was just outside of my list. Summer blockbuster, fun, good times. I enjoyed it a lot. 8 out of 10 on that. And then my number 11 actually did make Moodz' list. And this was very close. If it wasn't for the sadness, this would have been my number 10. It was my number 10 going into the final day of the year before we recorded. But then I watched the sadness and it bumped this one off. And that is Christmas, Bloody Christmas, which is the Joe Bigas Christmas horror movie. Terminator Santa. Very awesome movie. We did a featured review on it. So check that out. I gave 8 out of 10. So that was my 11 through 25.
Cool.
And one other thing.
What?
Are we doing honorable mentions? Because I did have like 2 more I want to just mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Men, which is a pretty weirdo movie. If I rewatched it, I might have liked it a little bit more. Bodies, which to me was a very fun movie, but not really the quality of all the other stuff for me. And also Orchestrator of Storms, the documentary on Jean Roland, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, I can see that. Cool.
Eat.
All right, Carly.
I guess
5, I have Beast. That was a pretty just easy, fun walk in the theater. There was nothing too overly special about it, but it was fun, easy to sit down, take in, and
what is Beast? I can't remember what that is.
The one with the killer lion.
Oh, the killer lion John. That's right.
Yeah, the killer lion John. So yeah, that was cool. I gave that a 7 out of 10. And then I have The Barn 2. I definitely prefer the first Barn, but I thought this was still pretty cool. A lot of cool cameos in it. I like the color scheme. It feels very Halloween, and just another fun one. Gave that a 10 as well. And then 23, another holiday move, and that is Christmas, a Bloody Christmas. I did like it. I had a good time with it. I was one of the people annoyed by all the fucks, but whatever. It was fun. It was probably my least favorite of the Joe Bigas films, though. But I still gave it a 7 out of 10. Then at number 22, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's definitely not a great movie. The story's pretty stupid, but it was just a really fun time. A lot of kills. And like JP said, it was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I gave it a 7 out of 10 just for enjoyment. 21, I had Men. I thought this movie was pretty creepy and unsettling. And it definitely had lessons within it. By the end, it gets a little just confusing and such, but I kind of get what they're saying, but whatever. I liked it because it was creepy and kind of a unique plot. So I gave that a 7.5 out of 10. Number 20, I have Watcher. That was a cool one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it was. It. I don't know. The trailer it looked creepier than it was, so it kind of sort of disappointed me a little bit, but I still enjoyed it. It still had its moments, and I just kind of like an apartment setting type of deal, and I do enjoy that. So I gave that a 7.5 as well. Then after we have number 19, Amityville Christmas Vacation. Yes. What? I had fun with this. This is independent film by a filmmaker around here that I worked with once. He's super nice, but it wasn't just pure bias. I actually had a good time with this. And dude that reviews all the movies from the Amityville franchise in the group gave it a 1 out of 10. But I think he's more so basing that off of it's not really based off of the Amityville story per se. It's just on the movie.
Using the name, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But whatever. I had fun with it. I think it had a lot of heart. It had Christmas set. It's like a horror comedy. It was more so funny than anything. It was very enjoyable, and it was short. It was literally 47 minutes, I think. So it didn't overstay its welcome. I gave that a half because I thought it was a really good independent film. 18, I have Smile. That one was really creepy and surprisingly pretty good, considering a lot of these cursed whatever movies tend to be chick and bad. The only complaint, which is on me, is we saw the trailer so many times, and it was one of those trailers that gave away the really good scares, so that kind of took a little bit away from me. But other than that, I thought it was a really creepy concept, and I would like to see a sequel. So 7.5 on that one as well. 17, I have 17, I have Piggy. That one was pretty good. It was the concept I like of, just like a kind of outsider girl who's getting picked on. I believe it was a Spanish film, and she's getting picked on, and then her picker-oners get kidnapped, and basically it's like, what's going to happen? I like the first half a little better than the second half. I feel like it could have been a lot better. Like, I feel like it could have been more memorable, but it kind of plays it safe in a way. So for that, it wasn't higher on my list, but I still gave it a 7.5. It was still a fun watch. After that, 16, I have Bones and All.
That's funny. I picked that as your number one.
It's number 6 best year. But it's just, like I said, I wasn't huge on the whole romance stuff. I think I wanted more like eating bones and all, I guess, within it. But I still gave it an 8 out of 10. It was a great story. It was like a road horror flick, which I dig. But the romance I could have just done with a little bit less of that. But 8 out of 10, still good. 15, I had Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I had a lot of fun with this. I didn't really expect to have a time with this as I did, but I did. And the ending itself is what kind of elevates it for me. That was hilarious. So 8 out of 10 for that. 14, I have Fall. This one made me almost like vomit, pass out, shit myself at the same time, because it was just heights, big fear of heights for me. And this one really does well with making that scary. It's not overly original. Felt like a mix of like The Descent and Frozen. But yeah, it was terrifying and really stupid that anyone would ever do something like this. So I gave it an 8 out of 10 because it had my anxiety really high throughout the whole thing, and I thought it was very well done. Then I have Duel at 13.
Real quick, Moodz, did you see Fall?
No.
That I thought of you the whole time we watched it.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, I
you
heard about
vomit
it
because we like, even me who's not a big heights person, like there are a few like scenes in there where I was like, ooh, like made my stomach feel weird.
Yeah, you feel like you're gonna fall while watching it. Yeah, you should check it out, Moodz. You'd probably like it. But yeah, 13, I have Duel. as JP did. Yeah, and it seems like no one really has seen this one, which is unfortunate. It might have maybe have made it in my top 10 if I felt it was like the most borderline, I think, for me out of all these films. So, but it's great nonetheless. It's got like this really dark comedy to it, which I enjoyed, and just the way characters talk and stuff is very different and off-putting and stuff like that. And just the whole plot was cool, and it's actually kind of like sad how it all plays out at the end. So thought it was really, really good, and I wish more people would have seen it. So give that an 8 out of 10. Number 12, I have Studio 666, aka as JP said, Dave Grohl makes a move with all his friends or whatever. Oh, that's a person.
I'm actually shocked that wasn't in your top 10.
I thought it was going to be, actually. I was shocked too when it all came down to it. Which, rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins. That was one of the people that we forgot to mention on the episode where we were talking about all the dead people. But so he died like a month after this movie came out. I'm a fan of the Foo Fighters, so I was pretty sad by that. But no, I really enjoyed this movie. Obviously, they're not actors, so the acting's not great in it, but I thought it was a blast. Like, it really does feel like Dave Grohl just came out with this idea to make a stupid movie, and everyone else was just like, okay, Dave, and this is what you got. So I had a great time with it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I would definitely go back and rewatch that. And then number 11 is where I have Halloween Ends.
Just missed your top 10.
Yeah. And that was probably my favorite out of these. It was definitely my favorite one out of the new 3 films, and it did not make the list though. So, but still, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a cool concept, and I fully thought I was going to go in and hate it based off of what everybody was saying. So I was shocked by how much I did not hate it. And yeah, I think it's, I could see why there's the divide, but it's either going to work for you or it's not. And that's kind of how it goes. So 8 out of 10, that is my list, and I am sticking to it.
Any honorable mentions?
Not really. I mean, VHS 99 must have been very not memorable for me because I gave it a 7 out of 10, but like I literally don't even remember it until you started talking about it, the stories, and I was like, oh yeah, that one wasn't too bad. I enjoyed like stuff like the found footage phenomenon, which is a documentary that came out
it was
this
good.
year.
Oh yeah, I forgot to watch that actually.
Yeah, so that was cool, but yeah, that's it.
Also, I do have Dave's list. If you want to do it last, or do you want me to do it now, Moodz?
Doesn't matter. You can do it now. It's fine.
Okay. His honorable mention is Speak No Evil at a 7 out of 10. Number 25 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a 7 out of 10. So we had the same number 25. Number 24 is actually Men with a 7 out of 10. Number 23 is All Jacked Up and Full of Worms with a 7.5 out of 10. Number 22 is The Innocents with a 7.5 out of 10. Number 21 is Master with a 7.5 out of 10. Number 20 is The Black Phone with a 7.5 out of 10. Number 19 is Hellvan with a 7.5 out of 10. Number 18 is Christmas Bloody Christmas with an 8 out of 10. Number 17 is Terrifier 2 with an 8 out of 10. Number 16 is Resurrection with an 8 out of 10. Number 15 is Fresh with an 8 out of 10. Number 14 is Piggy. Or sorry, number 14 is Dark Glasses with an 8 out of 10.
Shit.
Number 13 is, anyone want to take a guess? Piggy with an 8 out of 10.
Right.
Number 12 is The Leech with an 8 out of 10. So pretty close to his top 10. And then number 11, actually a little bit shocking. A little bit shocking to me is actually Sissy with an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Number 11.
Crazy. All right. Okay, so coming at number 25 for myself is an anthology called Tiny Cinema. It is directed by Tyler Cornack. He's the guy that brought us Butt Boy. Shit's kind of fucking funny, man. Like, this one's all like, the shorts are actually quite original. They're nasty, gory, funny. It has it all, man. It's just, it really has shorts, or it has some stories that just, they're original. They're original. They're fucked. They're fucked. So did you guys get a chance to watch Tiny Cinema?
I did not.
No.
It's definitely a freak show of shorts, man. It really is. But like I said, though, the main key element here is original. Like, some of the stories I've never seen before. Pretty crazy stuff. So I gave that a 7.5 out of 10. Number 24, Speak No Evil. I thought this movie was really good. It's something that we've possibly seen before. It's kind of mean-spirited, which is kind of crazy. I enjoyed it, man, for what it was. Another 7.5 out of 10. Number 23, Resurrection. I thought the third act was batshit in this one. It kind of went into a place where I was like, what? Really? But I enjoyed it. 7.5 out of 10. Number 22, Argento's Dark Glasses. Like I said, production value alone, I enjoyed it. It's not his greatest narrative work, but it's definitely a step in the right direction considering what he's done in the last 15, 20 years. So I enjoyed Dark Glasses. Again, 7.5 out of 10. I mean, honestly, dude, the core narrative of this has got to be the funniest thing ever. Like, it's one of those aha moments where you're like, really? This is why the guy is fucking killing people? It's actually, and who said the Italians don't have fucking senses of humor? Because that shit's pretty damn funny to me. Number 21 is Death to Metal. Did anyone see this one? I'm sure I've seen this on no one's list at all.
Nope.
Yeah, so Death to Metal is it's a low budget film. It was actually released by Wild Eye. It was on Blu-ray. Good stuff though, man. It's basically about this priest that has this accent, and he like fucking hates heavy metal. He hates all the people that are involved in it. He has this accent, and he ends up, turning into this monster, and he goes on this fucking killing spree. It's actually really damn fun. Very, very well executed. Production value a lot higher than you think it would be. It's definitely not one of their $2 movies. It's at least a 10 or 12. But it's good stuff. It's really fun. So if you're into like heavy metal kind of rock and roll movies and shit like that, this one's for you. It's fun. 7.5 out of 10. And at number 20 is The Black Phone, which actually really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to like this one as much. Ethan Hawke was great in the film. I thought he played the villain very, very well. He was kind of frightening to me. Not overly 100% original, but it does have some really good moments in it and stuff. And at the end of the day, man, it was just entertaining. It kept my attention through the whole thing. 8 out of 10. Number 19 is Master. I think that this was also on Dave's list. Master was really cool. It's more of like a psychological, it's kind of set in this reality, but not. And, it deals with it's a very layered film. It's full of social commentaries. It's got definitely, everybody could probably interpret this film a little bit different. Did you guys say that you saw it or not?
Which move?
Master.
No.
So no one saw that.
I'm going to say he probably did not see it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's probably why it wasn't. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, yeah. So Master, it's a really good film. It's well acted. It's very intriguing. Like I said, it's super layered. So there's a lot of ways to kind of look at it and stuff. So I highly recommend it. 8 out of 10. It's a good movie. I could see people's argument for it being not horror, but in a sense, honestly, the core of it, it's pretty scary. Number 18 is What Josh Just Saw. I haven't heard anyone talk about this movie. I think it's readily available, man. It was on Shudder and shit like that.
Yeah,
so
it was like 2+ hours. I was like, never got to it.
Yeah, see, the thing is with What Josh Just Saw is the reason why it runs so long is because it's not an anthology, but it's told in chapters like an anthology where everything comes together at the end. So I didn't know that going in. So like the first story is, it's telling this story, and then it cuts to this other story. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then it cuts to another one. I'm like, oh shit. But then everything kind of comes together, and it's honestly, the third act is fucked up. It's really fucked up. And actually, JP, this is something you got to see, man, because there's some elements in this film that you love. Loved. And I mean, you probably know what I'm referring to because it's fucked up. Like, you don't really see that it's fucked up, dude. Like, I was like, what? this is crazy. Like the storytelling was batshit, and it kind of like keeps you interested because you're like, where's this going? But so what Josh just saw, it's on Shudder, 8 out of 10, good film. I think the only film I watched this year that was on Netflix, fuck man, we only had maybe a handful all year, even on Netflix was just piss poor for horror films this year. And that's Hellhole. And I only watched it because I was sitting around one night and I was on Netflix. I'm like, you know what? This just came on. I'm like, don't know anything about it. Kind of read the synopsis. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it sounds super generic. It sounds like this typical exorcism type film. Basically about he's like an agent. He goes undercover into this monastery type thing, and he's wants to do some investigating. There's some shit going on in there. And so it starts to play out like your stereotypical exorcism type film, but then it just totally gets away from that. It's nothing like that at all. And then where it goes at the end is like, actually the ending's pretty damn cool. It probably has one of the coolest endings of any film this year. I thought it was unique. I thought it was actually really interesting. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. So you can get past like the first like 40 minutes in it because like I said, it feels like it's very generic, but then it totally turns on itself, and it's not. So Hellhole, number 17. Number 16 is The Apology, another holiday-themed Christmas horror film from this year, basically about two characters having a conversation. I'll just leave it at that. I thought it was really well done. The acting was good. It had the ending. It was good. The Apology was good. Check it out. Number 15, yes, I put it on the list because it's an extended list and I don't give a fuck, and that's Violent Night. Not your typical horror film at all, but I'm putting it on there because it's extended and I don't give a shit. I enjoyed it. Violent Night. It's Die Hard, Home Alone. It's what it is. You know, it's got some crazy nice shout outs to Silent Night, Deadly Night and stuff. It's fun. It's fun. It's stupid. Number 14 is the absolutely nauseating Mad God. Bill Tippett's fucking animated nightmare. It's like literally made my stomach turn over and over again because it's so overpowering. It's just like 90 minutes of holy fuck, it's never gonna stop. And it's like in a good way though. Like the visuals are so crazy. It took him a long time to do the film. It's kind of like his magnum opus. You know, something he's been wanting to do for a long time. Does the narrative make a lot of sense? I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, man. It's almost hard to figure out. There is, elements you can figure out of it, but visually it's just crazy. It's so crazy. Just for the style of it and the sheer nightmare aspect of it, 9 out of 10. It's really well done. I don't know. I mean, it's something I would actually like to watch on the big screen because I watched it on Shudder, right? So I'd like to see it on the big screen, see how sick I get from that. Number 13 is The Long Walk. This is another film that was on Shudder. Actually, funny story about this film. I recommended this film. I know Brandon really liked it too. And then Dave Z, he couldn't get past like the first 40 minutes. He's like, I'm so confused. I have no idea what the fuck I'm watching here. So he had to turn it off. But it's a really good movie. Like, basically about this dude that can almost go back in time. It's like where his mother died and stuff. And I don't want to reveal too much about it because you really can't. You got to kind of see it for yourself. So really well done. Asian film. Good stuff, though. Number 12, again, extended list. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Definitely has horror elements, a lot of exploitation. It is batshit insane animated film called The Old Man Movie, released by Unearthed Films. It is just, dude, I was fucking belly laughing through this whole thing, dude. There's so many funny parts in this, like legitimately, like so well done. And like, it's funny because it's foreign, so you're reading it, but it's like, it translates so well because it's just, it's like a perfect translation. It's great. It's great. And there's just so much oddity and uniqueness to this movie that you can't help but just smile. It's so well done. And number 11 is The Righteous. This is, did you guys watch this? I can't remember if we talked about this one. The Righteous?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
So Arrow
Dave's list.
Yeah, so
Dave
Arrow. Yeah. So Arrow actually released this on Blu-ray and I was like, oh shit, that's a modern film. So I checked it out. I didn't buy it or nothing, but I checked it out and I was like, oh shit, that's actually really good. It's an interesting one. Again, a film you don't want to really know too much about going into it because you don't really want to ruin anything, but it has something to do with like a priest and, his past and this dude that shows up. And there's a lot of interactions and then things that are developing. I just don't want to give too much away. It's really good. I thought it was really, really good. I think Mr. Parker said he liked it, but he didn't love it. But I think it's because it has to do with so much religious aspects of it and stuff like that. So JP, I think you'd really like this one actually, because I know you're into like these type of films, and it's got it's cool, man. It's really well acted too. It's very atmospheric. It's got a lot of things going on in it. It's at times can be kind of a head scratcher, but I think it works on all levels. So number 11, 9 out of 10. It was in my top 10 pretty much all year. I know it's funny because I make my list as like my favorite list and shit like that. So the reason why my bottom ones are actually 8s out of 10s and those are 9, because a couple of those I wasn't going to put in my horror film list, like the top 10 list, the Old Man movie, stuff like that. You know, it's violent. I wasn't going to make it because, you know, it's not really horror, but, but I had a hard time keeping that one off. But at the end of the day, I just, you know, Off Season, which came in at number 10, which is lower rating, but had more fun with it. So Righteous, it's almost like it's like very heavy. You know what I mean? It's one of those films that like you watch and you kind of feel exhausted after because there's like so much to take in, so much to absorb and stuff. So, but yeah, so that's 25 to 11. I've had a couple honorable mentions. I don't even really know. I like Prey this year. You know, that one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Prey. I like Prey as well.
I thought Prey, Nope. I do need to rewatch Nope. I only got to see it once in the theater, and I've been waiting for the fucking Blu or the 4K to go down all year, and it's still way overpriced. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not buying that shit. So I haven't got a chance to rewatch because I wanted to watch it on my big screen, and I was like, fuck, whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Not really a lot for honorable mentions. I'll just say that Two Witches I thought was interesting. I think they're making a sequel to that actually too. I'm actually quite surprised that Deadstream didn't make more lists this year. I think I saw it on
I never actually watched it.
Yeah. At first I was like totally annoyed with the main character in that film, but then everything started to kind of make sense, like why he was the way he was. And it's like they made a found footage film that like legitimately had pretty scary parts in it and was trying to be like, it was funny at the same time, but it was like being scary at the same time. I thought it was actually quite well done. And you know me, I'm not really a big fan of these like live streaming technology type films. And that one kept my attention. So, you know, I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, the sequel to Orphan, First Kill, was good.
Jeremy's such an idiot, dude.
You know what? I got to say, man, one of my most hated movies of the year. We didn't even talk about, we don't really bring this up a lot, but Run, Sweetheart, Run, man. I've never watched a movie that appalled me so bad. Like this movie was so disgusting with shoving the social commentary down your throat. Like every man in this film was a bona fide and dignified piece of fucking trash. Every male is not like this. It's like the film opens up with a guy like, you know, grabbing a chick's ass on a fucking train. I'm like, that fucking shit does not happen. That's bullshit, man. It's just so, it was abundant where they were going in the beginning of this film within 2 minutes. I'm like, this is fucking, and it just never lets up. It's crazy. It's like you're living in this world where every single male in the world is just out to get you kind of thing. Not really. Oh, I hated that movie. I fucking hated that movie, man. It was bad. I do want to bring up Dashcam though, because that movie was probably visually one of the worst I've seen all year. Oh my God. And it was so nauseating. And I found out that the lead character is actually a podcaster in real life. She's not even really an actress. So she's essentially playing herself in this movie. She's literally just playing herself. And I was like, oh my God, does that make it better or worse? I have no idea. But I will, like, the end credits were funny when she was rapping
I actually came around on the character in the end
funny.
Credits.
It was funny because it goes on for like 7 minutes of her just freestyling all the credits and shit. And I'm like, oh, that's actually
she's just funny. A goofball idiot. And I kind of like that now.
Yeah.
Like in the movie at first I was like super annoyed, but she's just a fucking
can't
idiot.
Stand her voice.
The problem is with the movie is, you know, I mean, it is very obnoxious in its approach because like it's a found footage film and essentially it's very movie. It's very distracting. And the biggest part for me that wasn't working was the fact that nothing even made sense. They didn't give you anything by the end of the movie. You literally had no idea what was going on. And I'm like, so
you couldn't see the scares.
Yeah,
like, you couldn't even see.
You couldn't see anything. They don't give you any core narrative. Like we know that she's live streaming this blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm like, okay, that just kind of ruined it. At least if they gave you something, and not every movie has to tell you what's going on, but that one really did need to tell you for it to work better because it felt so fucking pointless, man. I don't know.
So, what was the worst films you guys seen? Just
I
real
think
quick.
The Accursed, I gave it 1 out of 10. Night's End, this piece of shit I watched, Night's End, was 1 out of 10. And I'm pretty sure this movie made some people's extended list or whatever, but all my friends hate me. First of all, it's not a horror film. It's not a fucking so this movie was like, I think originally on IMDb it said drama horror. And it said comedy, drama, horror. I think that's what it was dubbed as. And I was like, okay, dramatic, yeah. Comedy, what? The movie doesn't have one funny thing in it. It doesn't even have it maybe minor dark humor and stuff. But I was like, horror? Where the fuck? No, I can't even make an argument for this thing, man. It was fucking exhaustingly bad. And I know I brought this up with Dave because we were talking in the chat about this. And he's like, I really liked it. I gave it 7 out of 10. I'm like, did you watch the same fucking movie as me? Because first of all, he's very hard on what's horror and what's not. I can't believe for a second that he would ever truly believe that this movie was horror. There's nothing horror about it. There's not even one moment in it. Literally nothing. It's so every character is so fucking awful. Just shitty people. And I get that's kind of but you can't even root for the guy that's oh my God, it's bad. I hated it so much. What a waste of time that was. Flux Gourmet. I actually don't understand this movie. Can anybody explain this fucking movie to me?
I skipped it. So
I think I've come to the conclusion that I don't understand anything that this director puts out. I honestly don't understand where he's coming from. What's the dude's name again? Peter Strickland. So Peter Strickland directed. So he did. That's the thing with his films is that you can kind of interpret things to a certain level. I didn't mind In Fabric. I think we watched that one a couple years back. I like Barbarian Sound Studio. Can I make a lot of sense about it? Maybe. I haven't seen The Duke of Burgundy yet. Have you guys seen these movies?
No.
Give you a general idea of what he's doing. His movies are really heavy, full of commentaries, and they always have kind of a lot of different type of. His storytelling is just a lot different. It probably makes sense to him, but I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do with Flux Gourmet here. I just okay. So it's actually dubbed as comedy, drama, horror.
Mm-hmm.
I get the comedy part, but I didn't even smile through the and I laugh at everything. I can't even explain this at all. What the fuck I was watching with this movie. I don't get it. How people could make any sense of this shit, man. So that one was just it was a total bust to me too. Pray for the Devil was one of the worst theatrical, probably the worst theatrical I saw all year. Just straight generic, just straight up fucking generic fucking exorcism bullshit. It was horrible. You guys skipped Pray for the Devil, right?
Yeah, we didn't see it.
That looked really generic.
Oh, fuck. It was really fucking bad, man. Really fucking bad. I don't know. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of average movies and stuff but I don't know. One movie I'm really disappointed with was Feed Me. I really wanted to like that movie, but it just kind of came in about a kind of an average one for me, but so.
You've seen a lot of stuff I didn't see. The bottom of my list, honestly, very solid bottom of my list. Considering that I didn't really see any pure shit bags. The worst movie I seen this year was probably The Reef Stalked. Just nowhere near as good as the first one. And then Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl, I gave a 5 out of 10, but I like the movie. So that's a full moon flick that's actually fun and had some funny jokes in it. The last one was Crimes of the Future, which I thought was pretty not interesting, but I still gave it a 6. It's just that's how little bad movies I watched this year.
Yeah, it happens every year. Like I said, I watched 100 movies, and I have quite a few under 5 this year and stuff. But it is what it is. There's a few films I wish I had got to rewatch, but it happens every year. Right? We only have so much time, so
right. Carly, your worst films?
Yeah, I also didn't really watch that many bad ones. I just kind of refused to subject myself to much this year. But like I said, Dash Cam was pretty garbage. Crimes of the Future is down there for me. I just was really bored during that one. It was probably remember obviously it was like a generic baby birth pregnancy movie or something. I think I watched on Tubi. Sissy, I hated. Everyone liked that one, but I gave that like a 5.
I didn't like it either.
10 for being a movie. Yeah. And then Who Invited Them, which a lot of people like that one too. I didn't really like that one. So.
Oh, I was actually just looking at mine. I gave it 3 out of 10.
Yeah. So I'm in the minority. We're in the minority. A lot of people did like Who Invited Them, but I thought it was a waste of time. It didn't really pay off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess with that said, let's get into the 2023 preview, I guess. Preview? Yeah. So how do you want to do this? I know Bloody Disgusting has a pretty decent list of films that are...
Yeah, you can just go down that and then we'll fill in any blanks that they might have missed. All
right. So they have this in like release order too, which is kind of nice too. So of course, right at the top of the list is Megan, which is already in cinema right now.
Made a lot of money and from most and did really well critically, but for most horror fans, I'm hearing it's about 6.57, which is literally what I expected.
That's exactly what it looks like it's going to be too. That doesn't really surprise me. There's a film called Candyland, which isn't really the most original title. There's been a few of those. Yeah,
that one I heard that it was like pretty decent. I think it's a bunch of sex workers at a truck stop, something like that. I don't know if it's dark or it's supposed to be a comedy.
It's not based on the board game.
It does say it's a slasher, so that's kind of interesting. Is it? This is theatrical too, or you said this is
no? This is out on VOD right now. You can watch it.
So slasher film, that one, that could be okay. I mean, taking place at a truck stop, that's kind of an interesting setting. You don't see that a lot. So then this one, it makes me laugh. The title, it's Skinamarink, as in like the childhood nursery rhyme, but that one Rinky Dinky Dink. Yeah, man, it's Skinamarink. That's fucking funny, actually. But it says
that one was really. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it basically says the viral horror hit arrives in theaters soon, so it is getting a theatrical. It follows 2 kids that wake up to find their father gone, so they create a slumber party and play old videotapes to cope, but it soon becomes clear that something is watching them, so I don't really know what to expect from this at all.
This one, so it showed at Fantasia last year, tried to get a screener for it, ended up never getting it. And then I seen a bunch of people have it on their list this year, but I don't think it's ever officially been released. I think it was only at like festivals and like I think there was screeners for the company that made it. I think that people were getting emailed screeners, and I know it was on the site, the pirate sites. So I think a lot of people that were including it just saw it that way.
Yeah.
And then I do know that Shudder picked it up, and actually me and Carly went and seen a premiere of some movie called Thrust over the weekend, and they showed a trailer for this, as this is going to be one of their films they're showing in their Genius Scary month. So it looks creepy. It was most known for being a very, like, a lot of people were saying it's the scariest movie of the year last year, so could be cool.
I gotta check it out. Like, I love the play on words, the Skinamarink. I think that's kind of funny, actually. It doesn't really give you a whole lot too, so it's kind of nice also. January 17th.
Even the trailer didn't give anything, did it, Carly?
The trailer wasn't it was like a joke. It was like, in this house.
Right. No, that's just the people behind us were making it into a joke. It wasn't actually supposed to be funny.
No, but it was. I thought that was because I keep saying it. Like,
no, it literally was just being serious.
Well, to me, the trailer kind of comes off comical with that, because I thought it was like a joke on old trailers.
No, it literally isn't. That's why I was like kind of annoyed at the people behind us.
Oh, okay.
So we have we have another, I guess technically a killer kids type film, and it's called There's Something Wrong with the Children. It was directed by Roxy.
That sounds like a 70s TV movie.
It does. Or it sounds like a sequel to The Children. The Children,
Yeah.
now there's something wrong with The Children. Directed by Roxanne Benjamin, who did Southbound.
Okay.
Which I really thought that was a great anthology. Actually, one of my favorites the last few years, man. I really like that one. So that one looks it's kind of cool. It just has the whole killer angled thing. Doesn't really give you much in the description, but yeah, there's obviously something wrong with The Children. Then January 20th, we've got Canadian Jason Eisner's new film, Kids vs. Aliens, which is pretty cool if you're not familiar with Eisner's work. He did Hobo with a Shotgun. He did the amazing short Treevenge, which is fucking amazing. He did a really cool VHS section or short in VHS 2.
Well, that's what this is, I believe.
Yeah, and so that's what you were explaining before we started recording here. Was this is actually like a sequel to that or something?
I think it's just extended into a full film, because you remember it was the kids at the slumber party. They put a camera on their dog, and then it was during an alien abduction or the alien thing. I literally think that is what this is, from what I've heard, but I'm not.
It honestly
sure.
makes a lot of sense being Kids vs. Aliens. It says when siblings are left alone on Halloween weekend. So this is actually a Halloween themed film. That's cool. A teen house party turns to terror when aliens attack, forcing the kids to band together to survive the night. So, and it's like literally the still that we see for this movie is just like 3 younger kids. They look like they're like 10, 11 years old. So they'll say teen. I don't know, but these kids look young. So I don't know. Were they that young?
I mean, I guess it could be sort of. Maybe it's just inspired by that initial
it probably
film that he did.
It's got to be like related. I mean, not like fully related, but it definitely takes from that idea. I'm assuming, because it's very similar. All right, so
it says a feature-length adaptation of Slumber Party Alien Abduction.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's cool. So January 27th, we got one of the films I'm really looking forward to this year, which is Infinity Pool, which is another Canadian, Brandon Cronenberg's new film. Of course, he did Possessor, Antiviral in the past, starring Alexander Skarsgård and, of course, Mia Goth, who
as well as Cleopatra Coleman, who was in a movie that I just seen recently. I can't remember what it was.
So right there, I mean, Cronenberg's been knocking out of the park with his films. He's got a great cast. I mean, this one I think is going to be fantastic, hopefully. I mean, I had big hopes for Possessor, and that thing came through really huge for me. I love that movie. It's really great.
That was your number one, right?
Yeah. And Antiviral, when we did Antiviral way back in 13 or whatever, that shit was like, the color scheme of that film was still burnt into my eyes. You know, it's so damn white.
Yeah.
Interesting film. Very, very.
And that one comes out soon, right? You said January something?
January 27th.
Wow. Okay.
So that one's soon. And that's very exciting. Surprisingly, like, I'm not a huge fan of this director, but this one sounds pretty cool. And I have, recently liked some of his films. I really liked The Visit. I thought that movie was great. And this is Knock at the Cabin from coming out on February 3rd. It's an M. Night Shyamalan film, which basically is about a family held hostage and forced to make impossible choices to avert the apocalypse in the first rated R movie by Shyamalan since The Happening. So this has potential. It's rated R. I mean, it's going to have some Shyamalan twists and turns in there, I'm assuming, but to avert an apocalypse, it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the trailer to this one recently, and honestly, like, Shyamalan is one of my favorite directors. I like all of his movies pretty much, and he's really done well in the past, like, I don't know, a decade for me.
Oh, what was the one that he did last year? Was it?
He did Old.
I actually really liked Old. A lot of people, I thought it was actually kind of cool, man.
I liked
it.
Split. I liked a lot, and then The Visit. So he's been lately. He's been doing really good.
Yeah, The Visit and Old, I really like. The Visit was actually, I think, one of the very first Shyamalan films I really loved. I was like, holy shit, that was fucking good, man. It's creepy and shit. It was good.
Yeah.
Good twist. This one right here just looks absolutely ridiculous, man. February 24th, we get Cocaine Bear, which I have seen actually trailer for, which I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a wide release. I was like, what?
Yeah, I know. When I was seeing the trailer, I didn't realize it was a trailer to a movie. And then I saw that Ray Liotta I was like, oh shit, this is the movie that he was making, I think, when he passed away. Pretty sure. And I was like, oh fuck, this movie looks ridiculous. But to get a wide theatrical for literally a bear that like gets into some coke.
Yeah,
is what the storyline is. It literally
is. Yeah, it's a killer bear movie that's high on cocaine.
So Elizabeth Banks, helm movie inspired by true events in Kentucky in 1985. So obviously somebody threw some cocaine out of a plane and a bear fucking ate it, and yeah, it just went batshit. So this has potential to be fun. I don't know if it's gonna be great, but
what did you think of that trailer, Carly?
I mean, I thought it looked ridiculous. I felt like people were kind of like over the top. They're like, "This is going to be so great! I can't wait." I don't know if I'm going to like it, but we'll see.
The bear, I thought the CG bear looked really bad in the trailer. So
yeah, it did.
So like
great,
so 90 minutes of that is going to be like, oh, do I have to keep looking at this coked up shitty CG bear? I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out for 90 minutes, but I guess we'll see. I guess it depends on the kills though too. I don't know how it's going to play.
Yeah.
This one says February to be announced. It's called The Outwaters. I don't know anything about this one.
Is this the Orville? No, I'm thinking of a different film.
This one's, despite a familiar initial setup, there's nothing conventional about found footage nightmare, The Outwaters. So it's a found footage film. Writer director Robbie.
This one is Screambox, which is, I believe, owned by Bloody Disgusting.
Yeah. This is Screambox.
Streaming service. So this is sort of like their own in-house stuff.
Okay, so found footage movie, VOD, whatever you want to call it. March 10th, we're getting. I can't even believe this one's already coming out so soon. But Scream 6.
You see, Jason, the guy in I assume this has to take place on Halloween, right? Because you got Jason, you got Pinhead behind Ghostface in that still.
I know. Yeah. I was wondering the same thing about that. Yeah, because you can see like all these masks and everyone's dressed up. Like literally everybody's dressed up. So
is that freaking Samara Weaving from Ready or Not? That girl with the braids in her hair?
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean. I don't know, man. I mean, it'll be the 6th Scream film I've seen in cinema. So, I mean, assuming we get it.
And dude, I mean, in New York, that's kind of cool.
I'm just a little concerned. That is.
Yeah, but you remember last time a major franchise went to New York? What happened? They somehow took a boat from Crystal Lake to New York. Like we just can't figure it out.
Well, this one they're taking a subway from Woodsboro to New York. Could you imagine? They take a subway the whole way.
They take the subway the whole way. Right. That's ridiculous. That would be so stupid. That would be so stupid.
Yeah, I'm just excited for Kirby to return.
I don't care.
I honestly,
Kirby is
whatever.
overrated.
You know, I watch these movies. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I didn't hate Scream 5, Scream, whatever you want. Yeah, it's called Scream for a reason. It's half clever, but I still think the core narrative of it, man, is ridiculous, man.
It is ridiculous, but just accept it and you'll enjoy it more. Just accept it.
Dude, when they explain that in the film, I was like, I had one of those moments in there. I went, oh. I was like, shut up. Really? Anyways, all right. So this one I think looks kind of cool. March 17th, it's a film called 65. This is Sam Raimi has joined forces with A Quiet Place writer Scott Beck and Brian Woods for 65. So original sci-fi thriller starring Adam Driver, a few other people. I don't know, man. It's battle against dinosaurs. So
really?
Yeah. Cool. I know Driver brings the big guns to what appears a suspenseful battle against dinosaurs, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like, you know, this
Look
is
at the next movie. Look at the next movie.
right. So, I mean, that was actually totally unplanned. But like dinosaurs. When was the last time you seen like a theatrical
Jurassic Park?
Oh,
Not really any horror.
Well, I meant like horror. This one seems like it's a little bit more in the horror realm.
I don't think I've ever seen a theatrical dinosaur horror movie.
Yeah, it was probably before our time in the 70s when they did all those dinosaur movies that were helmed as like, you know, sci-fi thriller horror film, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
All right. Well, this one looks pretty cool. It doesn't really give you much on it, but I mean, with Sam Raimi and Scott Beck, like I guess we'll see. March 21st is literally a film called Holy Shit. And I have to read
amazing.
I have to read this out because I started laughing at this so hard. It's like Lucas Rinker's Bonker. Bonker's black comedy sees an architect locked inside a portable toilet at a construction site set
We
to
call those
detonate.
porta-johns.
Yeah, porta-johns. Look for this wild ride to arrive only on Screenbox. Okay, so it's another Screenbox title, but still, that premise, man, a dude's trapped in a shitter at a construction site.
That's horrible.
It's literally called Holy Shit.
Dude, that's hilarious.
I gotta see
I like
this,
it.
man. Title alone, that's amazing. So that's probably pretty self-explanatory.
We got an Easter horror film coming.
Yeah, so yeah, March 28th, we got Family Dinner. It says, meet a new Easter horror favorite this year. A teenager heads to Aunt's farm for Easter, hoping to get help losing weight. She quickly suspects something is deeply amiss. So yeah, well,
Looks like some sort of cult, maybe.
yeah, I'm thinking
cool.
cult stuff, or doesn't give you too much, but that could be okay. It's Easter
The
cult.
very fact we got an Easter film that, like, just from the screenshot, doesn't look
Like-
ass.
like it has
in
a
terms of
fucking-
production.
Like a killer
Yeah.
Easter bunny in it. Yeah. This one says to be announced. It's called Envy's Men. Now this one actually kind of looks cool. I kind of passed over this one a couple times because it said to be announced, but it says this neon folk horror release set in 1973 on an uninhabited island off the British coast. So it's a folk horror film set in the 70s.
Off the British coast, sounds like The Wicker Man.
Yeah, it does actually. Where a wildlife volunteer descends into terrifying metaphysical and eco-physical journey. What does that say? Physical. Yeah, I don't know. Journey that challenges her grip on reality and pushes her into a living nightmare. Well, it currently
Sounds
has
cool.
no release date. Yeah, I mean, it's folk horror. I mean, I'm always down for folk horror for the most part. Sometimes it doesn't work for me. Mid lamer. But it is what it is. That one actually looks old, doesn't it? Like the still on this, it actually looks like it might have been shot on film, which is hopefully it was if it's set in 73. But documentary coming April 4th called Living with Chucky. Me and JP were talking before the show. I was like, I'm very surprised that they haven't made like a full blown documentary about the Child's Play franchise before this. So kind of interesting.
And the thing that I like about it is it says it's covering the franchise, the entire franchise.
Yeah.
So not just the first film.
Yeah. that's
Because
cool.
honestly, anytime you have these documentaries, I'm always more interested in the sequels because they always get the lesser amount of features. I mean, you've seen people talk about the first film to death, so interesting as, you know, maybe like 3 or 4. So that's what I'm mostly interested in. But
yeah, hopefully they do it kind of like the Friday the 13th like epic of like 8 to 12 hours, depending if you have extended version. I had pre-ordered that from the website, so I got the extended interview. So it's like, it's literally 12 and a half hours of like, they go through every film, like they cover seriously every single thing. And then of course, Never Sleep Again, the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
one.
those two are the gold standard in.
And again, they go through every single movie, you know, film by film and, you know, interview by interview. It's really good. They're just so well done. But that would be cool if this is done like that because, you know, it's big enough. Would they have the TV series now too? And yeah, so this one is still killing me, man.
And the remake.
Right. And the remake. Yeah. Which I liked and a lot of people didn't like so much. I thought it was.
I liked as well.
Yeah, it's fun.
So April 14th, we got Renfield. So the second I found out that Nick Cage was playing Dracula in this film, I couldn't stop thinking about Vampire's Kiss and his performance. I hope he takes what he did in that film and puts it into this because it'll just be the stupidest thing ever. But yeah, they're making a Renfield film. They're making a fucking movie about Renfield. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah, I like that.
I guess we pretty much know what we're getting into this. It's set in modern times. It's a comedy, obviously, and it's got potential to be insanely wacky. Just put it that way. If we get some classic Nick Cage in this is going to be good.
Oh yeah.
April 21st, The Black Demon. Don't know much about this one. What does it say?
It's a shark. It's a shark film.
Oh, it does too. Yeah, it says the essence of this killer shark. Okay, so yeah, it's a shark film, The Black Demon. Okay, we get a few of those every year. April 21st, we have Evil Dead Rise, which I'm still a little bit
outdates another one of our franchise shows.
Yeah, I'm so confused because I've heard from people. My initial thought on this was it was a sequel to the latest Evil Dead film. But then I've been reading that it's like a sequel to the original franchise. I'm confused. I actually don't know. I actually don't know what it is now. But this seems to happen every time we get a remake or whatever you want to call it. then they always go back and do a sequel to in the original franchise. We've seen this done in almost every franchise recently. So I don't know. It doesn't really give you much information what it's relating to. I mean, IMDb does say that it connects to the original and it lists all, you know, the Evil Dead 2, you know, stuff like that. So maybe it is like it's taking place after Ash vs. Evil Dead. Your guess is as good as mine. I will say everything I've seen so far on this, like the stills and everything looks terrible. But I'm not going to say it's going to be terrible. It just doesn't look good. I don't know. I don't know. It looks cheesy to me, or like it looks cheap to me. It's weird. I'm sure
I didn't watch the trailer, but I'm just saying, like, it's in a high rise and it's fucking basically demons.
Yeah. Well, that's I know. It's fucking, yeah, demons too. Right. All right. June 16th, we got The Blackening. What was this one again? Directed by Tim Story, who did Ride Along? Think Like a Man in Barbershop?
Yeah.
What am I reading right now? What am I reading?
It poses the question, if the entire cast of a horror movie is black, who dies first?
Oh dear.
It's set on Juneteenth.
Oh, okay. So Tim Story, that actually makes sense. That actually makes sense because Ride Along, Think Like a Man, Barbershop, Tracy Oliver, who did Girls Trip, Harlem, Dwayne Perkins, who's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh my Jesus, Black News. This girl is a cast of black. Who dies first? Is this? I'm not laughing at, like, it's just so crazy.
It's called The Blackening, bro.
It's crazy to bring up this idea because it's always been a straight up trope in horror films throughout history, is that, you know, if you're black in a horror film, you're most likely going to die first. It's funny too, because like it's actually not. I mean, it is true, but it's actually not.
It's not really. Yeah.
It's not really that big of it. People think it's a bigger trope than it actually is, but black people don't always die first in horror. It's really funny. I think it became more of a joke, but this is a really funny premise for a film. I gotta say.
Juneteenth. This is our first Juneteenth horror film.
Yeah, it's June 16th. Whoa. Is that the only one? Yeah, April, May. There's nothing in May. Well, according to this,
I'm sure
June,
stuff will come.
Of course. I did have. So July 7th, we have Insidious 5.
I'm actually questioning if this is actually really going to happen because they've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't 100%. That's what I was getting. I wasn't sure about this one either.
But Patrick Wilson's actually directing this one, which is cool because he obviously starred in the first two.
Yeah.
I know you're not like the biggest fan. I fucking love this franchise. It's one of my favorite franchises.
Well, to be honest, I've only seen the first 3. I haven't seen the 4th one yet, which I have. I just haven't gotten around. I actually see, the thing is, I like part 2 more than you did because I know you had part 2 spoiled for you, where I didn't. Yeah. So I didn't have it spoiled, and like it was totally fresh to me. So I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was kind of cool. I don't really remember the 3rd one much. I'm gonna have to go back.
Third one's like more of like a chill, like side story.
Yeah.
And then the 4th one, I like it because they literally are like, they paid respect to Lin Shaye by just being like, here, you can be the star of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they're all pretty good.
Because Lin Shaye never gets starring roles, even though she's honestly like one of the coolest horror like, you know, female bit actors, you know what I mean, for horror.
So that's possibly happening in Insidious 5. And then we got another sequel here. There's a lot of like sequels and kind of like remakes this year. And so again,
well, it's kind of easy to talk about, to like when you create a list, it's going to be intellectual property based, because those are, if we don't really know what like a film just titled like The Door in the Hallway, like we don't know what the fuck it is unless it has a director attached to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you have like intellectual properties, it makes sense to talk about them because you at least know what they are.
So we have The Meg 2, The Trench, and Statham is going to be back in this film, which is crazy. And
Ben Wheatley?
Ben Wheatley's directing this film, which I literally I had to read that twice, because if you're not like, you're familiar with Ben Wheatley, did Kill List, Sightseers, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. A Field in England, which is great also. But that's crazy, man.
And he's doing The Earth, which came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if I haven't seen High Rise. I think I saw Rebecca in there. I can't remember.
I've seen Kill List.
Yeah, I've seen 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of those. So Yeah, Sightseers is excellent. That movie's fucking awesome.
One of these films is definitely different than all the others.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like he's just gone, well, maybe this is a huge paycheck for him. You know, it's like
obviously
probably
paycheck film, Meg 2, but it's got Statham and it's directed by Ben Wheatley, so that's
I enjoyed
notable.
the first one. It was stupid fun.
I saw it in the theater. I thought it
liked
was okay. I was just like, you know, it felt pretty standard.
If
to me.
it was
wasn't
not
horrible.
PG-13, it would have been much more enjoyable.
Right. Yeah, I think that was the problem with it. August 11th, we have The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in this one, directed by Andre Overdell, the guy who did Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Excellent film.
Ooh. Cool.
Yeah,
excellent
and
film.
it focuses on a specific chapter of Bram Stoker's classic novel, which is the Demeter, which was, I guess, a ship in that novel.
It's funny because I've never actually read the original novel, so like
Me neither.
Yeah. He also did Scary Stories to Tell.
It looks like it's going to be a period piece, and I
of
like
course.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big budget period pieces work for me
Yeah.
usually.
For the most part.
So that's pretty interesting.
August 11th, Haunted Mansion. What the fuck is this? Like, are they just redoing this movie?
Honestly, I don't care.
Eddie
Isn't
Murphy movie.
there already a movie called Haunted Mansion? It doesn't even say.
Yeah,
Like
that's
this
the
Eddie
Eddie
movie?
Murphy
Oh, it's a
one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a live action popular. Okay, Anyways, don't care. August 25th.
Yeah.
They Listen. The upcoming Blumhouse horror movie. The Listen. They keep Mum spelled M-U-M. They keep keeping Mum on plot details so far. Okay, so don't really know much about this. It's Blumhouse. So
Has John Cho in it from
Searching. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So September 8th, another sequel. We got The Nun 2.
I know him from Harold and Kumar, but I guess
Yes.
Right. I like Searching. Though. I actually didn't mind Searching.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah,
I
do you
didn't
know
mi-
there's a sequel coming out this month?
Yep. Yeah. I actually saw the trailer for it. Yeah. I think I saw it in the theater or whatever. But so The Nun 2, I wasn't overly the hugest fan of it. I know JP liked it a lot more than me.
Loved it.
Does not surprise me that they're keeping this whole universe going. The Conjuring universe doesn't. Yeah,
Yep.
they keep making money. They're going to keep making the movies. So yeah, it's a Nun sequel. If you like the first one, check out the second one. Another sequel coming in October, which makes complete sense, and that is Saw 10. I haven't even seen the last Saw movie.
Really? It's honestly it's probably my least. It might be my least favorite in the series.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Saw. Like, I don't mind some of the movies, but honestly, it's very draining to me. And I just find it so incredibly odd the way they did this series. Because, like, what is this, like the 7th prequel now?
I don't know
Yeah.
because they're bringing back Tobin Bell, and I'm like, how the fuck are they doing that?
It's probably
So
like
it's
it
another
has to be in a
prequel.
prequel because you can't change the way what happens in the third one. Like, it's got to be another prequel. It's got to be.
Yeah, but
So-
he's old as fuck now.
Well, he'll just wear his baseball cap backwards and he'll look young.
I'm excited because I mean, realistically, this is the franchise that was made for my generation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? In 2000, three or four?
Four, I think the first
Came
one
out?
came out.
There were four.
Yeah. So you're looking 20
Well,
years?
it's been 16 years, 17 years now in 2023 in 10 films. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Which is just crazy to me. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every couple years we get a Saw film. I'm down. And this is the 10th one. It's a special one. So yeah. I'll be sure to see it.
I believe.
All right.
Just-
So that was in October. Apparently nothing listed for November. And then December, we get Ghostbusters 5. It's funny that they're calling it Ghostbusters 5 too. I think that's just hilarious. But I guess,
I doubt that. I bet that's just a working title.
yeah, it's got to be working.
Yeah.
So, because they didn't call the other ones 3 or 4. I didn't mind the last one. I actually saw it in the cinema. Haven't seen it since.
It made my top 5 of,
Yeah.
of
It was
2021.
just so it had so much more heart than I was ever anticipating it to have. And there was just a lot of goodness to it, man. I'll be honest, I never saw the one with the female Ghostbusters. I couldn't bring myself to watch it because
I never seen it either. Bro.
what's her name?
Mhm.
McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, I can't stand her, dude. She's so
Yeah.
fucking annoying, man. And I've never seen her. Oh, she's so not funny. I can't stand her. So I was like, fuck it. If she wasn't in that, I probably would have checked it out, but I couldn't handle it, man. There's no way. Like doing a straight comedic version must have been the most annoying thing in the world. I'm sure it was. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters 5. I mean,
yeah, just I mean, simply for me because I enjoyed the last one so much.
Yeah. This one just says to be announced, and it's Beau is Afraid.
This was also known for the longest time. It was titled Disappointment Boulevard, which I think is a way better title.
Okay, so this is an Ari Aster film. Right. Okay. Yeah, so starring Joaquin Phoenix. Parker Posey's in this. Nice. Cool. All right, so I did not know that. That looks cool.
I think it follows like Joaquin Phoenix throughout his life or something. Like I think it's like young kid Joaquin Phoenix all the way to old man Joaquin Phoenix.
Interesting. Another one that says to be announced, Consecration. So Triangle
Nunsploitation.
And the Banishing director Christopher Smith returns to horror with the upcoming supernatural thriller Consecration. Yeah, so it looks like non-horror. That's interesting. You don't see a lot of those.
Yeah, but a lot of them
non-horrors
suck
in 1
because
year.
they're all PG-13 bullshit. Like we need to have some lesbian nun action.
Yeah, we need that
for it
like
to be true
70s
nunsploitation.
just straight trash shit, man. Bruno Mattei nunsploitation.
Carly loves nunsploitation.
Shut up. I hate that word.
She hates exploitation words. I'm like, Carly, did you see that new exploitation movie? She's like, shut up.
Exploitation at the end of everything. It's just stupid. JP exploitation.
So we get another one here. It says Cuckoo. Luz. Oh, the director of Luz. Okay. Or however you want to pronounce it. I thought that was decent. Plot details remain scarce, so we don't really know much about this. We got Dan Stevens from The Guesses in it, Jessica Henwick. Okay. Doesn't really give you much at all.
Just know that there's a movie from the Luz director coming out too.
So this is pretty cool, man. I think this might be pretty neat. So Dark Harvest. It's set on Halloween in 1963. Norman Partridge's horror novel Dark Harvest is heading to the big screen, directed by David Slade. Like that's crazy.
Did Hard Candy and 30 Days a Night, which I both like those movies.
And Hannibal. You did Hannibal. We reviewed that too. So
oh, there's a show for you, Moodz. 30 Days a Night 1 and 2.
Right. I can't believe we've never done. Yeah, that's crazy. The premise of 30 Days a Night is so terrifying. So terrifying.
I know. I love winter horror too.
Yeah.
And 30 Days a Night is a very enjoyable movie.
So like the still of this, it looks like it's anime. It's not though. It's live action though, isn't it?
I hope.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It makes it look like it's anime. It's like a totally drawn picture, but yeah, who knows? Of course,
I like it that it's set in 1963. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Probably my most anticipated movie of the year, which is Maxine. There's no tentative release date for it, but of course, it's the third installment in the Ty West trilogy, which we spent a lot of time talking about last show, so you guys know what Maxine is.
Honestly, when that comes out, we should just do the trilogy.
Yeah, and of course it's set in late 80s, which makes complete sense. So probably roughly 10 years later, I'm assuming. It says later 80s, so 79 to probably later 80s. Yeah, so probably 10 years later. Pretty cool. Then we got a remake of Salem's Lot, that's being produced by James Wan. So
yeah,
it doesn't give you a lot on here. It says sometime in 2000. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really give you a lot on
it. It
this.
was supposed to come out last year. It was actually like, I think it's completely done. So I'm sure we'll just see it this year.
Yeah, cool. I'm a big fan of the original one. I love Salem's Lot. It's great. It's long, but it's worth your time. No, it's good. Shelby Oaks. Do you know anything about this movie?
Yeah, this is from that. You ever watch that Chris Duckman's reviews on YouTube?
Yep.
He's like a big famous YouTuber.
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't really watch the channel. I know who he is.
I don't really like his reviews personally.
Yeah.
But he is making a movie, and I do know, I think that he did a video once where I think he was like Mormon growing up, and like he did an exposed video on like Mormonism or something. So I don't know if it's related to that, but got Keith David in it, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at the cast and it's like Keith David's in this movie. Like the fuck, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. All right. So next one is Time Cut.
This is the last one on this list.
I'm assuming that this is a slasher. Okay, the writer director slasher comedy Freaky are uniting for a young adult horror movie titled Time Cut, with Christopher Landon producing and Michael Kennedy writing the script along with Sonopana. It doesn't really give you much here. It's described as Back to the Future meets Scream.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So
if they
I
actually
don't
have a
know if it's
DeLorean in
gonna
this,
tie. Is it gonna tie into
if they fucking have a DeLorean in this movie,
Freaky and Happy Death Day?
if they have a DeLorean, this is my favorite film of the next year, man. It's gonna be amazing. Back to the Future meets Scream. That's fucking amazing,
That's
dude.
ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Do
Do you have
another
any
one?
more? Yeah.
One that I have that I don't know if it'll actually come out this year, but it came out. Moodz referenced it earlier at the beginning of the show. But basically, Eli Roth, who Moodz literally was like, "What has he been up to on the last show?" And I knew he was doing something, but he was working on an adaptation of Borderlands, the game, which is actually one of my favorite games of all time. I played the hell out of it back in the day. It's basically a post-apocalyptic game, but apparently he left that project. It was supposed to do reshoots for some stuff, and he left the project and let someone else take over on the reshoots because he was in the midst of his production of his, I guess, spinoff of the Grindhouse segment, fake trailer Thanksgiving, which he had teased for well over a decade at this point, since 2009. That he was going to do, and apparently he's finally actually prepping for it and in pre-production for that. So we're finally getting the Thanksgiving slasher, which anytime I think of that movie, I just think of the trampoline scene because it's so brutal.
Yeah. Apparently there's it's been rumored. I think it's supposed to be like late this year or something like shit like that. So David Gordon Green's doing apparently a remake of The Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I mean it's supposed to be a sequel to The Exorcist.
No,
sorry.
It's a new trilogy. They're literally just doing Halloween again.
Oh, okay, so they're doing their own trilogy. Okay, so
yeah.
So David Gordon, yeah, okay, that's
I
really
swear
funny.
to God, when it comes to The Exorcist, it has to be played straight serious. I don't even want any comedy in there at all. And we'll see how that goes.
I thought this was kind of interesting because there's going to be a new adaptation of Stephen King's The Boogeyman. Boogeyman it's a short story that was adapted. I think it's just a short film. I can't remember if it's full length or short. I can't remember. Back in the day, it was adapted. But there's a readaptation done by Rob Savage. We actually just spent a minute bashing one of his films to death 5 minutes ago in Dashcam. But he also did Host in 2020, which I thought was really well done. So Host to Dashcam. So he definitely likes his shot on, or I was going to say shot on video, his found footage type thing. So hopefully this one isn't. I can't remember the story of the Boogeyman, and I actually have the VHS tape with this original one on it somewhere. But yeah, anyways. So that's another kind of readaptation that's coming out this year.
Also, Mutilator 2 is on its way.
Right, which is so fucked up. They're making a sequel to this movie like 40 years later.
Kind of bad.
Yeah, well, 40 years later, I mean, you got to be shitting, brother, man. That's crazy.
There is another Bring It On horror film coming out. I don't know if you guys ended up watching that last one.
No.
Rebecca McKendry directed it.
I was going to ask you. So there's a title listed here called The First Omen. Do you know anything about this? Is it is it connected to The Omen, or is it just called The First Omen? Yeah.
I bet it's a sequel, guys.
Yeah, I saw this First Omen, and it looks like an Omen film. It literally looks like an Omen film. So I don't know about that, but
also there is, I don't know if it'll come out this year, but they're remaking the Strangers movies.
I thought the working title is like the one by Rennie Harlan.
Yeah, and it's a trilogy. So
okay, so they're just doing 3, because I read it was like it was titled The Strangers 3. So maybe it's just like as a whole.
I think it's supposed to be a remake
Dude, you could just keep making sequels to the. You
No,
don't
they
have
all
to make
die
a
in the third one.
Yeah.
The second
Oh
one.
yeah, they do. Huh?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Did we not read
Yeah,
about this last year? Like there was a movie called Spin the Bottle. Did we not talk about this last year?
I can't remember.
At one point, and like it's saying it's in post. Oh, it's in post production. So we probably did talk about this last year. It says it's in post production right now, so it's probably coming out this year. It literally says the story of a group of teenagers in a small town, Texas, who unleash a deadly force after playing the famous game in an abandoned house where a grisly massacre once took place. Yeah, that sounds exactly what you'd probably get from a narrative. Spin the Bottle. Yeah.
Also, there is the Children of the Corn film that 2020 during the pandemic, and was supposed, like, it literally has been done for, like, I mean, I'm sure it's bad, but another film to ruin our franchise shows. It was filmed in 2020 during Australia during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
Who the hell? I mean, it's now 2023, so it was released in Sarasota in a film festival, I think. It premiered in 2 theaters in Sarasota, Florida, on October 23rd, 2020.
Is it a sequel? Is it a requel? Is it a prequel? What is it?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm starting to get confused with a lot of those ones, but I think I just heard the other day, like Final Destination 6, I think officially got announced.
Yes, so that is, I think that one's coming to like a streaming service, like a HBO Max or Paramount Plus or something.
So again, another franchise sequel. A lot of remake sequels this year is pretty crazy.
Yeah, which I will always take another Final Destination. Those movies are so fun to me.
So I'm pretty sure that this one got brought, or maybe it was just me reading about it. I can't remember, but they're making a movie, Oregon Trail. So it's a Western horror film.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if it's based on the video game or it's probably based on a real Oregon Trail kind of thing. But well, there was a game back in the day called Oregon Trail. But yeah, Western horror. So that seems pretty cool. Set in the 1870s in Montana. I like
Oregon Trail.
Alone in Montana. Yeah,
Oregon Trail.
That's fucking exactly. Right. It does say Oregon Trail. It's not Oregon. It's literally Oregon Trail. So yeah, there's going to be carnage.
Oh, that's the best.
Earthly possession. So it says, who fights for her survival and retrieve her from earthly possession, family horse, and a gang of bloodthirsty bandits. So yeah, whatever. Did we talk about VHS 85? Yeah, we brought that up, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't. No. VHS 85 that got announced as well.
Yeah, it's got some Scott Derrickson in it. David Bruckner directs in it.
Toho announced that their next Godzilla film will be coming out on November 3rd of 2023, directed by Takashi Yamazaki, who I feel like I've heard before. I think he's done a Godzilla before, but I'm not sure. But yeah, this one is set in post-war Japan, so I assume post-World War II Japan. Right? That would be what post-war Japan would be.
What was the year?
It doesn't say here, just set in post-war Japan.
Okay, so post 45.
Yeah. So until new Godzilla, that's always good. And then we have Blood Rise Subspecies 5, which I think is finished now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Subspecies 5. Another fucking franchise sequel. It's crazy. So many of them.
Yeah, that's actually a franchise we should do.
Yeah.
Considering we've done a severe lack of Full Moon besides the Puppet Master.
So if we do, are we going to put in the offshoot one?
Vampire Journals, of course. We're 22 shots. We put in everything.
It's so weird to put it in. Like, it's weird to like review that film before part 4 because it's like, you know, you're going from 3 to 4. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because it's just like such an offshoot, but.
Yeah. And then what is there? Frog Killer coming out.
What about that Winnie the Pooh movie? What is it?
Blood and Honey.
Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
That just looks stupid.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it freaking is. I think that's about it. I mean, I know there was one called Yuletide Horror.
Yeah, there was a few odds and ends in here too.
There was another one, another killer. Another killer alligator film or crocodile film called The Flood.
What about The
I'm not
Conjuring 4? Was that not supposed to be a thing this year?
I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I heard that was an official, and I think I heard somewhere too. Here it is, right here. Actually, there's a new Cloverfield movie coming out, so something connected to that franchise. Yeah. I don't know if it'll come out this year, but apparently it is filming. So
Okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah, and of course, there's going to be a ton of movies that just are like we don't know what they are because they're not announced or out really.
Oh, here's one I didn't notice. This is the first. I was kind of scrolling through this page and it says Fear Street 4.
Oh yeah, they did announce they were doing some new Fear Streets as well. I don't know. I honestly would like if they did another trilogy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you don't have to make a part 4 to that. It actually doesn't even really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Given, I wish that fucking trilogy would get a fucking release. Sucks.
Also, Wonka is coming out this year. I know that's not like horror, but what the original Willy Wonka had some scary moments in it. If you follow,
I thought it was going to be a horror version of that.
Who knows? Maybe it will be.
Okay.
This is guess who's playing Willy Wonka?
Johnny Depp.
Timothy Chalamet.
No, he made that's how he got like famous. He was making TikToks dressed up as like Johnny Depp's like Willy Wonka.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like Kate, my friend, used to like show me videos of him and be like, he looks so hot. No, he doesn't.
Oh, that's crazy. What about the remake? Because they're redoing, like the Robert Eggers is doing Nosferatu 2, right? So
yeah, I'm hoping that comes out this year.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I mean, if anyone's going to do a remake of, because the previous Nosferatu movies are both fantastic, but if anyone's going to do a remake of that story, give it to Eggers, because I can imagine what he's going to do with that.
Yeah, he's really good at period pieces. I'll tell you that.
That's what I'm saying. What about? Was there not an official announcement of a remake of The Lost Boys? Or something along, maybe was
it The Lost Girls?
I heard The Lost Boys and I was like, they're remaking The Lost, but then it didn't surprise me.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that actually officially got announced, but
yeah, yep. There is.
And what about The Howling? Is that an official remake?
I don't know. Maybe.
Unclear.
Yeah, it does say it's announced in here. I don't know. I think the Pumpkinhead one's been around for a long time. A Quiet Place, there's a sequel, which I don't think is supposed to be coming out this year. I think
it's a prequel, right? It's Day One or something.
Yeah.
Which wasn't the last one.
Quiet Place. Like yeah, because I don't think it says on here 24. So yeah, I think it's been announced or filming, whatever it is.
I'm pretty sure that George Miller was supposed to do another Mad Max.
Right.
But I don't know if that's actually coming out or even filming, but it would be cool if it did.
Yeah, we're into a lot of these things do say that they're in post-production though. It's crazy. And pre-production, so interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be another interesting year where there's a bunch of stuff. Are we good on this?
Yeah, that comes out or doesn't come out or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's a general idea. There's it seems like a lot of sequels and a lot of franchise films and stuff. But then there's a lot of kind of unique things. There's some films I'm really looking forward to. I think honestly, probably my top 5, like Maxine, Infinity Pool, Knock at the Cabin looks pretty cool. 65 sounds good. Renfield, the ones that I know are probably going to come maybe Thanksgiving. Hopefully that does actually make an appearance this year. That'd be pretty fun. But yeah, those are some of the ones that I'm really looking forward to. They look pretty cool. But Battling Dinosaurs, really?
For me, it's like mostly the IP stuff. Like Scream is probably my number one most anticipated, just because I love that franchise. I'm very curious on Evil Dead, just because it could be a really fun movie. Like if it's just ultra violent and like nonstop, like that could just be fun. Demons 2 basically.
Right.
Rainfield, just because it looks ridiculous and fun. Infinity Pool, because Brandon Cronenberg. Insidious, just because I want to see what happens. Saw, because I'm a Saw fan. And then of course, probably that I'm honestly curious about that Orville movie,
Orville,
Voyager of the Demeter.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, that one looks pretty cool, man. I really hope that Oregon Trail drops this year, man, because I love Western horror films and they don't make enough. And
yeah,
so.
What about you, Carly? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, you just named every move there, but Maxine definitely is my number
Oh yeah,
one.
that one too.
Yeah, you didn't name that one. I do want to see that. I can't wait for that Skinamarink. I think that looked really cool. And that kid versus alien John that Mood said, because I like that segment in VHS. So if it's like based off of that kind of, I think that sounds pretty neat. And I mean franchise movies.
Yes, in the flesh.
Yep.
I'm a podcaster.
I podcast from time to time.
All right, try to.
Anyway, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. That's everything. Okay. Well, I guess we could probably just wrap this up. Let's look at 2023, our extended lists, and man, we're gonna be back with some pretty fun shows coming up here.
Yeah, we got some cool ideas next week. Particularly, I'm pretty excited for, just because it's different.
Yeah. Do you want to announce that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we decided that we're gonna start our first show in a long run. We're not going to do them all back to back or anything, but it'll be a reoccurring show type. And that is our zoology series. And we're starting next week with cockroaches. So zoology volume 1, killer cockroaches. We got The Nest, we got They Nest, and we got Bug. So 3 killer cockroaches films, and zoology as a show type will be returning with all types of killer animals and animal horror, nature run amok stuff. We literally have like an infinite amount of ideas for that. So
yeah, it never ends.
Yeah, we were literally just coming up with like all these different shows that we could do. So that'll be fun. And then I guess the show after that, I guess we'll announce that too, if you guys want to prep for it.
Yeah.
We're going to do Salem's Lot 1 and 2. It's going to be our first Stephen King show. So we're going to do Salem Lot and Return to Salem's Lot, the originals. And as we know, there's a new one coming out this year. So it'll be, I guess, a good time to rewatch those. And then after that, we're going to be doing the top 10 of 1941. There's only about 12 movies, I think, that came out that year.
Yep.
So that should be a nice, easy show. And then for the fans who are really excited about the 80s show, we're doing that in February. So,
well, that's news to me.
Oh yeah, you're on that show. I guess we should tell Carly. Or no?
Did you tell everyone else? Like,
it's just me, you, and is Dave Z on that show?
Yeah, he's been talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm not even close to being done." That's what I'm saying. Like, you better fucking.
Yeah, end of February.
Yeah, end of February. I mean, it's still like a month and a half away. So it's
I'm
still...
fine. Like, I've watched like 60 movies already, so I don't really care. But still, yeah. Just tell Dave.
Yeah, we definitely got to get that one out of the way, and then this 41 and that one, and then we'll just we'll go from there. Well, obviously, the second we do 80, we're gonna have another top 10 show announced. So
yeah,
and then so 80 won't be in there, so we'll be back to what, the 70s, 90s, 2000. Yeah, so hopefully it goes back to the 70s.
No.
Yeah, 70s would be fun, man. 79 would be a cool year. I think 78 would just be a little bit redundant.
Well, next is what, the 2000s.
Yeah. So are we actually just going to go to the 2000s?
Yeah. Because I think the reason that I want to do that is because I think then it would put everyone on equal amounts done, and then we could randomize it. Oh, right. There.
I think that was the point before. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because we've only done 2002 and 2005, whereas I think we've done 3 for every other year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, sounds good. All right. So that is going to conclude this episode, and we'll see you guys next week with some cockroaches.
All right, cockroaches it is.
All right, man. We're out of here. Deuces.
Game over.